Hey everyone, welcome to Collector Chatter. Guess what? Funko's finally back in the news. We're going to talk about it.
It's insane, but we all know collecting is the way. Now let's chat.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Collector Chatter. This is episode 88, and we're back talking about Funko. It's been a while since we
Yeah,
talked about more like actual Funko stuff, I feel like, because they've been gone for the new year.
they've been missing.
Yeah, they were missing for a little while, right? But we do have some news that we want to go over. We do have a couple drops and some things that we do want to talk about, but a couple different things that Funko's kind of been doing or that we're hearing about that's related to them. So we definitely want to talk about that in today's episode. But I'm excited to start off with some interesting news that we saw with Funko and a company Goliath.
Yeah.
They actually announced an exclusive global deal for Funko games. So we know, I think when we talked about like what's going to be gone or maybe what things will be when, when the whole end of the year thing happened, we mentioned like games, I think, because they do their actual like I think they do puzzles even and they do the actual like
Puzzles, card
games with the
games,
little
board
little
games.
things in there. Yeah, and it was like so many random things that like honestly didn't seem like they were really selling or made any sense for Funko. And I don't know if you want to get into it, but basically
Yeah,
they sold off all that to this company, right? But it's gonna still be branded as Funko. Is that kind of
exactly.
how it goes?
So, I mean, I actually think I'll start off by saying this is a smart move for Funko. They're going to keep that brand a little bit alive, but they've, sold that part of the business off to Goliath Games, which is, I looked them up. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say they're huge, like when Hasbro is making games, but like that is their niche. They make board games. So I think it's a good part of for their new portfolio, and they'll see what works. They're going to take what's basically probably their existing inventory and develop what they can with that. They'll probably see what sells and what doesn't, and they'll be using the Funko IP.
Yeah.
So it kind of shows like Funko really won't be focusing on this at all anymore, but they'll be getting like royalty checks. So it's a kind of a win-win for them. They get it off the books. And the one thing too that I always thought, which I think this will work for Goliath games, but was weird for Funko, is like some of the games that they make, you didn't even really know they were Funko. Like not
Yeah.
all of them had like the pop characters in it. There may have been like an Indiana Jones adventure game that absolutely had nothing to do with like the Funko look. It's just on the back you could see it was a Funko product.
Yeah, I did notice there was some stuff like that because obviously there was the obvious, like what would they actually call the ones that are like? Because I
The
think
f-
have two,
the
and I've
like
never opened them,
the
where they had came with a little,
Funkoverse,
yeah,
Funkoverse.
Funkoverse,
That was like their
and
first entry into it.
yeah, and it was basically like gaming. You got small little like Funko Pop figures essentially. Because I got like Batman related ones. I think there was like a pack of
Yep.
like three characters, and then there was like an expansion one that had like two characters. They're literally sealed. I've never even opened them. I don't know how the game goes,
It
anything
didn't
like that.
that didn't work out for them at all.
Yeah, and then obviously they didn't make too many more. They made some, and you saw a couple here and there, but it is kind of interesting to see kind of what this means for them because of course this kind of seems like it's tying along the lines of like them not necessarily having so many SKUs and products and stuff, even though their name's going to kind of be attached to something else. So
Yeah.
even though you see it, you're going to look at it like, oh, Funko's still coming out with this or that. But maybe this actual game company can handle games a little bit better and do something with it that maybe Funko really doesn't know what they're doing with because it seems like they weren't successful at
Completely
all
agree.
with that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing, and it's at least them doing something. So when we saw that coming out, and I was like, okay, now they're starting to figure out, they're getting themselves out there. They're kind of branding themselves, figuring out what they're going to do, going into this year, which we kind of expected to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still kind of at a slow pace, I guess. But yeah, it's interesting to see that in terms of just Funko, and like you said, I think it's a good thing for them, and I guess we'll see, what'll happen if they're making any other games or anything.
I'm
Who
just
knows?
curious if they'll do this with more of their business or like the games is probably really like the only one they could actually do this to, where the
Yeah.
others will probably start cutting like the gold line, for example. I know we joke
Hmm.
about it, but like I'm sure they were like that line has to be done. I'm assuming there's absolutely no talk about it anymore. There's been no new
Yeah,
releases.
there hasn't been.
Um, So I think they ended it with a bang with that Iron Man one for Vivi, and I think that's why they kind of probably did the NFT tie-in, and then it's just done.
Yeah, I forgot about that even the VV
Yeah,
thing because it kind of goes to show that they're probably not even doing that type of thing ever again. Well, at least tied to golds maybe.
yeah,
But we'll see what happens when it comes to that. But Funko's also in the news in another type, well, not the news, but like, they're out there and another type of thing that we have definitely talked about multiple times
yes,
throughout our episodes, let's say. And it's something that we've jokingly said that like we could probably do a better job at. And, da, 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 da. And the team has changed so much when it comes to Funko, whether it's been the faces that we see every day on their social media or whether it's people that we see running the business, like obviously this is all kind of changed. But they currently have two like official positions open,
yes,
which, if you're interested, go out there. Maybe you can be someone that'll work for Funko. One of them is a social media manager, pretty simple. And then another one's another manager for influencer marketing. So it's kind of funny and interesting because I would love to say like, oh, Funko listens to us, but clearly they definitely
yes.
probably don't. But like we've talked about this, bro. Like we've said this. It makes sense. I don't know if do you think these like just new positions or does someone at one point hold this? Because some of the people that were technically tied to it, I don't know if they were really just did a bad job or if they just never really did exactly what they need out of this.
Yeah,
Um, but it's
I,
interesting. What do you
I
think?
mean, I definitely the social media manager is definitely, that ain't a new job. I do probably think
Yeah.
finding influencers is it was probably someone's like, you know, trying to do it, but it wasn't necessarily their full-time job. It's clearly probably been working for them, and they probably want someone to solely focus on it because they probably are going to start looking for maybe some people like us. I know we don't have a big reach, but like not everyone is Tristan Top Hops level. There's in
Yeah.
between, and they need to find someone who's going to find them. Um, like even perfect example, we're fans of Sidekick Inc. If you guys don't know him, you probably do if you're listening to us, but like he just was made a video clearly sponsored for them where he had to open up some Harry Potter packs, which dropping today. He got them earlier. They did that with Tristan before with Top Hop. So that's clearly a new movement for them. It's pretty much basically free marketing. Like, why not?
Mhm.
Because that is what they need. And yeah, they're probably, their social media used to be amazing, in my opinion. That has been such a roller coaster ride, and they definitely need someone. They used to have people who I think were fans, and then it turned into like a job. They need to find those types of people again.
Yeah.
And
It's
I was
interesting.
there you go.
Well, I was gonna say, is it interesting with that influencer manager one? Because it makes you think like does that position actually mean like uh face like an influencer that's gonna be like running things and what we thought maybe like Top Pops was gonna be, or is that gonna be someone who's gonna be involved in like getting
That's what I think it
influencers
is.
in and stuff. Yeah, like getting more content from certain influencers or basically doing the day to day on, setting these things up and whatever with them, which I mean, regardless, I mean, it's a good idea because like we said, this is something that they should be doing. Obviously, like it's 2024. Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and all these things are obviously not really going anywhere, and they are massive for brands.
Yep.
And a brand like Funko like clearly needs to figure that part out because their like Instagram, for instance, is like god awful,
Terrible.
and it's just
Terrible.
like yeah, like it went through times where it was like good, and we had a face that we always saw, and even with like Mike, it's interesting because like even I feel like he's not been around as much lately. Like you see him
No.
every once in a while doing his little like
And he
kooky
was always
videos and
doing on
stuff.
his own account too, which I always found interesting. They didn't
Yeah.
collab all the time. It was sometimes just
Hmm.
you followed Mike and you saw this or you didn't.
Yeah. And so like now like their original page is like definitely needs to get figuring out what's going on, and even the social media manager part like that's clearly showing that they're trying to get someone to handle their page. And it's not in the sense of like, oh, they need more followers, they need more people. Like it's like, no, they just need a better run
Yeah.
content. Like they just
And
need
like I'll give a great example because one thing that they did over the summer, which I thought was absolute cringe, And I think if they had the right person in the job, this would never have happened. I don't know if you're familiar with Vanderpump Rules, very
Mm.
popular show on Bravo. I mean, they got two of the characters from that show to like pump up Funko and go, do the pop yourself. That was so off brand
Yeah,
and so
I didn't
weird.
realize.
Oh yeah, it was so cringe. Like the moment I saw this, I was just like, dude, you're going after a market that's not buying your product, and why you thinking because they're huge viral on social, it's not a good mesh. And I think when they get someone in the position that knows what they're doing, they would know right off the bat, like, this doesn't work for our company. It's a terrible idea. They
Yeah,
need like they need that.
it's like the Corey Feldman stuff. It's
Exactly.
like you're,
Exactly.
it's like you think it's like whoever makes these decisions or whatever, like clearly doesn't know like
No.
what
It,
people want or what's going
great
actually out,
example.
what's actually, popular and what's like going on in the world essentially. So it's just like they clearly need somebody who is tapped into all of that. And I'm sure it's going to be interesting to see kind of like who they get on to do these things. Because I'm sure once we get like a legit person to run, regardless of either of the positions, we'll see a change. Like we'll
Yes.
notice it right away. I'm sure. Like Instagram will be different and posts will be better and content will be like it's just crazy. Like this is a especially when it comes to like us as like content creators and all these other people that we follow, like YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, and those things are like so massive for us because there's so much that we can show and talk about and
Yeah.
do and whatever. And it's like that's what this company should also be doing. And they should be tying in more people, like us, for instance, or whatever, that know about the products more than just like a face that just happens to like be like smiling and oh yeah, we got this, we got that, or whatever. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. So yeah, that's an interesting one, but that's a good thing as well. That's kind of like
Yeah.
another thing that's happening with Funko where it's like, all right, this is progress. We see potential in this. This can be something that's going to help the company and get us kind of more excited for this company that we, still love, but we clearly loved a lot more than as of late. So yeah, that's another thing in the news. What else we got out there?
Another thing is we're starting to get, I wouldn't call them, they're kind of leaks, I guess, so far for the London Toy Fair. It doesn't start until the 23rd, but people are definitely saying that this is where these are coming from. And I'm sure, you know, it starts today, actually, if you're listening to the podcast. But as I know from, working at New York Comic Con before, going or seeing other people, like they start getting set up. And it looks like we're going to get a few new product lines. One being, which I shared actually. I made a reel of it today because I'm actually pretty excited about it. They're calling them pop towns, bitty pop towns, which I didn't notice when I
Oh,
first saw
is
the
it?
picture. Yeah. It's what they're calling them, but they're essentially like they're display cases of an important like symbol of the franchise. So for Harry Potter, they showed off it's Hogwarts. So it's a pretty sweet display where you can put all the bitty pops in. And then they actually showed one for Batman, and it's the Batman, it's the 89 logo. And you get to put all the DC ones in there. I'm assuming we'll get a Turtles one, a Disney one, et cetera, et cetera. I know you're not a huge fan of the Bitty Pops, but for people who are, I think this is a pretty cool thing because the way to display them now is kind of weird.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. Like I don't hate the bitty pops. I just think they're just kind of like, they're
Yep.
whatever, they're a cool idea. To me, it's not like one of the best things they've ever done. That's just like a different market, I guess, that I wasn't really, really super tapped into. I did get a couple, obviously. I wanted to see them, first of all. I got some characters that I liked. I think I got like Batman series, and then I got like the princess ones, the Disney princess ones. But yeah, one of the things was like, how do you display these things? Like, yeah, they
Yep.
were in those little like cases of four, and it was just kind of like a weird situation. And it's like funny because we display pops kind of similar. Like you could look at the back of your backdrop right now.
Yep.
Like essentially those were bitty pops were stacked like the way you have your pop stack. But being so small and you can't you could probably mix them in with other stuff, but you wouldn't even know they were there.
Exactly. I
And
have them in my background and they're kind of hidden.
yeah, that's the point. So like it's just interesting like that they didn't think about that. But now this is left definitely a cool idea in the sense of like, all right, now you can actually have these be now, if I'm not mistaken. So, because at first when I saw the Batman one, I didn't realize this, but I'm looking at it now. So it has like a stand, right? I wonder if you
Yeah,
can hang them on the wall. Because to me, that's how ultimately I think would be the best is if they have
agreed.
some sort of like, hole or something that you can put a nail and kind of hang it like you would do like any other wall
Yep,
display or shelf type of thing. Because that's what I look at this as is like a shelving thing, but it's a theme. And obviously it's small, so you can fit like your little the bitties on there. One thing I do like about it is that you do get to like characters included. And I believe they're not ones that
they're
are,
exclusive to it.
yeah, not to the other, like you don't get them as the individual packs and whatever. So like that part is cool. I just think this should have launched with them. Let's put it that way. Like I think it's like a great idea to have with the biddies. I just think, in my opinion, I don't see them selling as much as maybe they are, maybe they aren't, because I see them everywhere, and it just doesn't look like they're actually being sold. Like whenever I go to a
Yeah,
Target or something like that. So for them to like now come out with something like this, it just seems like are they grasping at straws to try to get this more exciting like thing behind this, or are they going to continue? Because they kind of even slowed down the drops
they
of Biddy
have.
Pops. We haven't gotten like a bunch of new lines, so that's where it's kind of like I'm kind of back and forth on like the thing, but it itself is cool, especially the Batman one. I think is awesome, and I mean even the Harry Potter one, like the fact Hogwarts is so cool. So like those totally fit. Like it's not. It would have been weird if it was just like a stupid little display and it had like a logo on it. Then I would have been like,
Yes,
wow, they're so lame. Like at least they put
they made
thought
them
into the
cool looking.
design. Yeah, so the design is cool.
Part of the thing with the Biddy Pops, though, it's like, and now I do wish Funko was listening because I could tell you how to make this line huge. Okay. And so I know you're saying you're not really familiar with this market. I'm actually really familiar with this. Like, this is probably my son's most favorite thing. When we go to Target, there's an aisle dedicated to just mystery little toys. His favorite is actually called Disney Doorables, which I think Funko probably stole some of the inspiration from. For people who aren't familiar with them, they're little tiny Disney characters. I actually have one right over here. I'll show you if you're watching on YouTube. Here's Mickey. They're tiny. Then they come in various different ways. They have small little mystery packs where you can get one thing that's cool about them too. It's not the every box doesn't have the same amount. You can have like up to getting 2 to 3 in the small ones, and the bigger ones you can get from 5 to 7. They're always completely random, and you don't know what any of them are in most of the packages. You know it's in the series, but it's completely a mystery. Kids love this shit. I'm telling you, like when we go to Target, like everyone's in this aisle, both boys and girls, and there's tons of stuff in there. Funko should have tried to get the product in this aisle. They're not here when you go to like retail stores. They're either with the Funkos, which kind of like you said in Target, like I've seen them clearance some places. Like people aren't aware they're over there. And two, I think Funko did a mistake by showing you 3 and only one's a mystery. If they all were just mysteries and you had a better chance of getting a collection, and they were probably that would bring the price down maybe a little bit. Even if it was the same, it's like I've bought for the collections I've wanted, I bought 4 and I'm done. I'm never
Hmm.
buying them again.
Hmm.
Where we buy multiple of the doorables. Now the series is a little bit bigger, but you're taking away the mystery from those 4 packs. In the 3 in each of them, you always know what they're going to be. You're not going to get repeat buyers. I'm not. I'm
Yeah.
like. I'm like kind of passionate about this because I think when Funko announced this, I thought it was going to be a home run. But you are right. Like they are sitting in shelves, and they probably wouldn't be if they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, I
And
mean
the
that
brand.
part makes that that part makes sense. Like what you said, like obviously if you're not gonna get just to try to pull a different mystery one. You're not gonna get the same pack, so you can get freaking what is it like 9 of the same ones or
Exactly.
12 of the same ones, whatever. So like you're clearly not gonna continue to do that. But the only thing is like Funko has mystery minis. So like they're in that market already. Like so that's why like I never connected this to that because they do that type of thing
I guess because
already.
they're not miniatures. A lot of these, the kids, they all these kids' toys are like a miniature stuff.
Yeah. It's funny because to me, I guess it depends on the age, but to me, they're almost too small for kids. These are choking hazards. These things are like this big. They're tiny, tiny. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So like,
you're right.
eh,
They could be a little bit bigger, and they
yeah,
probably
yeah. Like
need the
what you just held up
box.
is clearly a lot bigger than the bitty.
It is.
Like it
You're right.
definitely
It
is.
is.
And I think the idea was cool because it comes in the case and it looks like a
Yeah.
Funko Pop and like that was cool and it was on a little stand. But like the design of it wasn't the best. Like falls out. It doesn't really stay stuck in there. Like they would fall out a lot. Um, and maybe if they just made a mini, but I mean they already have mystery minis. But if they made like that, maybe that would make more sense. They clearly wanted this to be more like to us, kind of like collectors, but in a
Yeah.
smaller aspect. You know what I'm saying? And they just never to me, I don't think they hit as much as they probably thought they should have. But it with doing this kind of a thing now, it's like going to be interesting to see like, okay, well, this because think about it. This right here is 100% showing you that they made these biddies not for kids. They made like
Yep.
tech
Yep.
to
No, you're
display
right.
them and like you know what I'm saying? They made them for collectors because none of those other things you're talking about have probably displays and things that like, they're
Well,
just
it's
meant to be
funny.
probably tossed into a bin, I would assume.
Correct, but that's what's brilliant about Doorables. They hit the both market. Obviously, there's crazy Disney fans. People
Hmm.
have to make fun of the Disney adults, yada yada yada. Like there are grown people who collect these, and there are official displays like this.
Oh, okay. For
Um,
Disney ones.
yeah, there's not they're more kind of what you were saying before. They're plain. They have Mickey ears and it says Doorables, and like that's it. They're
Hmm.
not cool like themed like this. Yes, they're mostly probably for children. And like, yes, Chip, my son, he throws them all in a bin and plays with them.
Yeah.
That is obviously the market, but they've gotten adults to do it. Funko needs to do the reverse. We know they're the collectors, but you want to get kids. I feel like this is a great gateway drug into Funko for them, and they miss the mark. And you are
Yeah.
right; they're probably a
It
little too
it could
small.
have been. Yeah, I don't think it
Yes,
is because it's
it
the
could have been.
if you buy a box, you know what it is. If it
Yes,
was more of a mystery, yes, 100%, because people love mystery anything. Think about why we rip so many NFTs, why we
yeah,
buy any other trading cards, why we do mystery box. Anything that's mystery it will always drive more excitement and more like, well, I might get this or I can get that and try to complete this set because I'm a completionist. But when you already know what it is, you're not going to go back and buy it again. Like you have to get a brand new person to want to go and grab that. And that's clearly not enough of those.
no.
So
And then they came
yeah.
out with the bags, like Five and the Below has them, for
Yeah, that
example.
was weird.
And it's like
One like
the
individual one or whatever.
one individual one for like $5, which they're repeats of the ones that you can just go get opened, like that you know what are
Yeah.
there. Like it was
Yeah.
just like we don't need to talk much more about this, but it was just like something that Funko. The reason I'm bringing this up is I still think they're heavily investing in this too, because not only we see these new products coming, they easily could have canceled them if they didn't want to continue them out. But I get sponsored ads for Funko for two products and two products only. Bitty Pops and Pop Yourself. I get hit on TikTok with so many Bitty Pop ads. It's insane. It
Yeah,
used to
I
be
never see.
it used to be rewinds and it kind of changed over to Bitty Pops. And they're still obviously pumping that Pop Yourself
Yeah.
like crazy because they think you don't need to collect Funko at all to want one of those, which I think they're
Yeah.
wrong, even though some people do want to get them as I think I mentioned in a previous episode
Hmm.
as like a niche gift. But like if you don't like Funko, you're probably not gonna want
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting kind of polarizing product right now. So I'd love to hear what everybody else thinks about it. Like if even know about the Bitty Pops, are you fans of the Bitty Pops? What do you think about them? Are they going to continue on like what? But well, I'll transition to something else that's kind of funny because it's almost like a gigantic version of a Bitty Pop, and that's the die cast.
it.
Because it
Yeah,
comes in a case, looks almost the same, right?
this is the adult version.
Yeah, the adult version that we loved and no one else happened to. But this is clearly something that, we probably would have seen happening in the sense of like it was a premier product, it was $50, it was a lot more expensive than a regular Funko Pop. Clearly it was a die-cast metal on, but it did come packaged really nice, acrylic case, etched out, words and pictures and everything on it, and it was great. But they're clearly not selling. They still, to this day, have almost every single one they've ever sold on their site still to this day. Like
Yeah,
obviously some of the OG, Captain America, Iron Man, those aren't there anymore. But a lot of the other ones are. And they don't really sell. So the last two at least, I believe, I don't know if they did it more than that, but definitely for Indiana Jones, which was dropped a few months back, and then the most recent drop was a Joker. They've gone with this tactic of like the day it drops, it's part of a buy two get one free, and clearly that's a sales tactic to get rid of stuff, maybe get more people involved. Like, oh, cool, I get a sale. If I get a couple of these, I can get another one, and get them into buying multiple. But to me, it's kind of more of like a desperation
yeah,
ploy, and it just shows you that there's not a market really out there for this, which is sad because I really love this
me too.
line from the beginning. I'm pretty complete with it. The only two I don't have are the Indiana Jones and the Joker because I kind of have slowed down my collecting in general, and obviously that's a pretty pricey product to just go and grab. It's crazy because I'm such a Joker fan, so it's like I should be jumping all over for one, but there's not three that I want to get, so
Yeah,
why do it and not take advantage of the buy two get one free, whatever. But yeah, this was an interesting one. They promoted it, buy two get one free die cast, get a free die cast on us, and like it was all based on when this drops, this will be going on. And I think it's still
it's
going
still
on,
going
is
on, I
it? Right?
believe.
Yeah, I
Yep,
believe it still is. Um, and obviously the diecast kind of, I also feel like once they switched over to having the chase be like
it
this
ruined it.
ridiculous like thing, it wasn't as exciting for people. The unpainted like version. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. What do you think of like, because to me, like this is kind of showing that like we're probably gonna get rid of diecast. And I mean, I thought about that as when we were talking about like what's a product that they're invested a lot. It's expensive for this product, so
Yep.
obviously they may not be making any return on it. So it might be one of the ones that goes out the window. But I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I kind of agree with everything you're saying, and I unfortunately do think this product's going to go out the window. We had pretty high hopes for it. I still think it's one of the best lines Funko's ever made, but
Yeah,
we're clearly in the minority because, like you said, I mean, it's kind of become the butt of a joke. Like you said, with the last two new ones they've released on release day, they're telling you can get it on sale, which is crazy because like you don't do that with a brand new product.
yeah,
Um, and I'm in the same boat with you. I'm a completionist with that set. I will get the Joker and Indiana Jones eventually, but I know they're just gonna sit there and they're just gonna get clearanced out. The sale is good, but like I don't have a third one to get either.
yeah,
Um, and I feel like there had been I feel like every one that they had ever rumored that we talked about when we were really heavy into rumors has like come out besides I think they were supposedly making a Captain America Sam Wilson version, but I feel like that's just
yeah,
not being made anymore because like no one has talked about it. I don't know why they would ever release that now.
yeah. That
Um,
would definitely not sell if we
no,
were
not
talking
at
about
all. Like
like.
unfortunately no one really likes that character. And yeah, it's crazy. They kind of went cold turkey on the Star Wars ones.
Mhm.
It's weird. Like, I'm just not thinking about it. It's weird. We never got a Superman one. That was the other problem. The line is super strange. It's all over the place. That's another issue with it. Like, as much as like, I mean, the Disney guy. Like Mickey, like I loved my Mickey diecast, but when you look at like the line that they've made, like Mickey just doesn't fit.
Yeah, it's
Even
the
like
only
it's
like
like the only
classic
non
Disney.
yeah. I kind of wish they only stuck with comic books, even though I'm then gonna say I wouldn't have my Star Wars ones. Not that they don't make sense, but the moment they just started randomly being like, we're gonna die cast this, we're gonna die cast that, just like they did with the comic like book pops, like the actual comic covers, when we went from these awesome classics to like a brand new comic that no one ever bought off the shelf. No one's buying those Funko Pops. No, like that shouldn't be a shocker to you.
Yeah. No,
So
I
yeah,
I agree. I don't know. Like it probably just wasn't done the right way. I don't think it was like a bad product that you could look
no,
back and be like, yeah, that clearly was gonna fail because it was just an awful product. I just think the way it was done and like you said, like what they chose to pick and choose on like somewhat superhero and slapping back and forth between Marvel and DC and then randomly throwing in Star Wars and then be like, hey, here's a Mickey. Like it was just kind of all over the place. Where they could have stuck with, maybe something more specific or something. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I love the line. Like I do have all of them up until these two. Um, but I don't see them, yeah, making too many more. I think everything did come out, like you said, that we rumored, except for, yeah, that Sam Wilson, and I think that was pretty much it. But
Yeah.
I don't know if they're
And
gonna
like you
continue
said,
on
you
or
can
what.
still buy every single one ever made besides the Captain America, which was the con exclusive, and the Boba Fett, which was the first ever Star Wars. You can actually still get Iron Man.
Oh, really? Okay.
You
Iron
can
Man, I
get,
thought was one that
you
wasn't.
actually can't get Batman anymore. Batman's sold out.
Okay. And I knew Captain, yeah, 'cause that was a, yeah, con
Yeah.
exclusive. It was literally the only one that was con. Was it the first one?
The first one ever,
First one, and it was con, yeah.
which
Everything else has
people
been
were
a Funko
buzzing
Shop
off of that.
exclusive. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, that definitely was. I mean, because that also, I believe, had a piece count, maybe not, but it was just exclusive to the con, so
Yeah.
it's technically
Has some
like
sort of piece count.
limited.
Yeah.
Yeah, some kind of limit, 20,000 or whatever. Um, but yeah, so obviously there was some pops and stuff that dropped as well. Well, not that the drop, just kind of been announced. We did have like a Donald Duck wave, which was pretty cool. It's like a classic
Yeah.
Donald Duck 90th so anniversary type stuff. So that's pretty cool with like a few versions of him. Um we did have this I wanted to talk about just because it's like hilarious, but we had another soda wave, which, knowing us, and if you listen to us from day one or you ever watched my channel, for instance, if we ever had a soda, I mean, look at my freaking background. If we ever had a soda like topic, we'd be like going crazy, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, we had our episode a few months ago actually talking about how sodas were dead.
Heard it here first.
And yeah, like we picked up on that. I mean, that's a new wave right now, by the way, on the YouTube world, but we picked up on that a long time ago. And it was like we just saw it happening. And it was just obvious in the sense of like just stuff wasn't coming out, stuff wasn't being announced, it was no longer big drops and things like
Those were the
that.
most exciting social media posts from Funko.
Yeah. And exactly. And they were always like dropping like boom, five, four, even three, or whatever it was. And that stopped. And, not to go back into the whole rant to that, but that essentially is what's been happening. Now, we're getting a common release again, which this was kind of where it started going downhill with sodas, anyways, when it's transitioned to over to a lot of them being non-numbered. And, we both have given our input on how much we don't like that. We're OG soda collectors, like the real ones. But for most of these like Marvel shows and then movies or other random kind of mixed in ones, it's kind of like what it seems like. And I don't know if they just had this long like contract out to do everyone for the next 2 years or whatever it was, because now we're getting like a Marvels one, which is so odd because the movie's been out for, well, I mean, it's gone out of
Dude, it's
theaters,
the
I think,
biggest
at
bomb
this
in
point.
Marvel history. No one
Yeah.
wants this. I'm
And
being
and
honest.
yeah, but that's the thing. It's like multiple things. It's one, the timing. Even if it was a great movie, the timing is like
Is
where it's
you're
like,
right.
okay,
You're
this is
right.
weird. But the movie itself, yeah, of course, we know about how it just didn't do well and like it's not being received the right way, whatever it is. And so it's so random that we're getting, and we're getting common ones, which means they're going to just be so many of these, and they're going to be all over Targets again, and Walmarts, and ripped open, and whatever. It's just like so annoying because it's obviously something they probably had to put out because they just had them all
Have
done.
yeah.
But it kind of just continues to throw into the fact of like, we're probably not going to get more sodas and we're not getting any more legit announcements. We're getting random ones here and there that you can tell just must have been already in production.
Yeah.
But I really think like the aluminum can soda thing is just not working for them. And it's sad, but yeah, I didn't want to throw that out there just because it's like a hilarious drop. It's like, why? But yeah, freaking Marvels, it's awful. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, I completely agree with you. And like, I honestly haven't even seen the movie.
Me
I'm waiting
neither.
to watch this on Disney Plus. Honestly, it's crazy.
Is
Marvel,
it
I'm a
on Disney
huge,
Plus already?
they just announced it actually yesterday that it's coming like in the beginning of
Okay.
February.
Yeah.
Um, this the Marvel product. It's crazy, just like the MCU. it's just been so downhill. Funko product with Marvel is the same, and they oversaturated it. Like you even said with the commons, like they became like the Marvel like thing because they thought everyone loves Marvel product. We need to make a ton of these sodas. Like that's like
Hmm.
another thing. Like they all don't need. That's been like the one thing I always loved about sodas. Even though we joked like some lines never were finished, but like we would randomly get like something from a movie and may not for months later or even a year, we'd get another one in that set. Something about just dropping like six sodas at a time, all from the movie, even if they were numbered, I don't think I'd like that.
Yeah,
That
no,
hurt
that
them
makes
as
sense.
well. Yeah, I just these are
Yeah, their strategy behind the sodas and stuff just completely went downhill. And like, I mean, we've in our video, if you guys didn't watch that, check it out. It was a video that we talked about. We talked about a few things, but one of the main topics was, sodas being dead and our reason as to why we think that. And one of the good ones was the whole Brian
yeah,
like debate on like he loved sodas and he's out. So like maybe that's part of the reason why. And it's just interesting because you can see the transition of like the OG wave sodas. And as they continued on, like, yeah, they just became more massive. And like Funko has done this with everything. And they clearly have the wrong people in their ears where it's like they think there's a wave of something and they just want to ride it with everyone.
yeah,
So they go super ham on it and they don't understand like that's
not
not
what we
going to be
want.
successful. That's not what's working. Like, yeah, if something's popular and it's out there, we may want something from that, but like, you know, just tease us with something and like, okay, boom, we came out with this one thing, not overdo it because people, even though they love riding waves and riding what's cool, also get over things very fast.
Yes.
And because they have to produce things and whatever, one of two things will happen. One, they just like come out with too much that it gets overwhelming and people go, all right, that's enough. I don't need to go crazy on this. Or two, they're already kind of over it because it's been going on. And then they come out with stuff like later and their timing is always off. And then it's not going to sell. And like one of those two things always happens. It's ridiculous.
You're right. It always does. They just yeah, they're missing that secret sauce that they used to have. And yeah, I mean, moral of the story is it's unfortunate because these will just be sitting on the shelves. People will rip them open in the stores, find a chase, and still leave it there.
Yeah, that literally happens all the time. It's hilarious. Uh, but let's get into some Arcana stuff. So we have some Disney
Yes.
Arcana news that I know we want to talk about because it wasn't only Funko. As you guys know, we are big fans and we've been trying to put content out there. I've been ripping a lot of stuff open.
My rips,
Just
my rips are coming. They're coming. I promise.
they're
Thanks.
coming. I
Keep
know.
saying they're coming. They're coming. I just
Because I know you got stuff enough to like
yes.
really show off. But yeah, I just recently put up a video days ago, ripping open a couple packs, something crazy. It was interesting because it was the first time I found stuff in the wild. I was out at box lunch actually at the American Dream Mall, and I was like, wow, there's like packs here. So I was like, I gotta grab some because I never really see something like that. But then I've been opening up like the booster boxes that I got. So there will be another video coming of my Floodborne booster box, which is going to be another pretty sick video of what I pulled. But just in the news, if you are Lorcana fans, like I'm sure you saw this, but if not, it's interesting to see because it kind of just sets up what they're going to be doing for the year. Well, one thing is they did announce like a championships
Yeah.
type big tournament event thing that they're going to be doing, which obviously this is becoming very popular in the actual TCG world of playing the game. We haven't really dabbled in that yet. I watch a lot of videos and stuff of the
Yeah.
games and people playing, so that's still pretty cool to and interesting to see. But what's interesting to us as collectors is these lines and like what's going to be happening. So the announcement of Into the Inklands was the third wave, was done a little while back. February 23rd is the official date of when it's going to hit like the local like game shops, card shops, those small like places, Disney parks as well and stuff. And then March 8th will be like the mass one where you're going to get it on Shop Disney and then the Targets of the world and the where it's impossible to get basically at that point.
Yeah.
Um, and then, we'll kind of see what's going to happen because it's interesting to see what the first wave did, the hype and everything. And then technically when Floodborne came, it kind of died and it's
Yeah.
not as it's a little bit more easily accessible.
It's
Not
still hard to
completely. Yeah,
assert.
yeah, I was gonna say not completely, but
You
compared
can
to like
find it.
that first drop, yeah, it definitely is like more accessible, but it's still pretty tough. So wonder what that's gonna happen now with this one because this is clearly becoming a very big. I was surprised that they're gonna be this many drops because there's gonna
Yeah.
be a total of four throughout the year. We're getting one in May, we're getting one in August, and then we're gonna get one to end the year in November. So I don't know if it's like too much. Do you think like they're just blowing their
It's
load? Like they're just
it's
going too
funny. It's
crazy,
like it seems like
or is it
I mean,
exciting because there's like a lot of cards, Like I
I
don't
think
know.
excuse me. I'm in like I go back and forth. Seems like we're getting one a quarter is their strategy, which I
Mhm.
guess makes sense. And like I think because it's still new, it's still exciting. But let's just say, and I'm hoping, as we both do, this game has like a lifespan of like a Pokemon. If we were to continuously get this new product like all the time, it will become like a little overwhelming. Just like
Yeah.
every other month, every 3 months, it's like, oh my God, I need to get like this whole set,
Yeah, that's
try to
that's
collect
what's
them.
tough. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it a little, I feel like they're just trying to get it out there still. But, greed is always, champions everything. If it's
Yeah.
selling and they can produce it, they probably will keep doing it.
Yeah. And I mean, like, if you guys listen and you are, trading card collectors out there and you play the games, whether it's Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, and all those things, like, let us know because we're not like super hardcore into all of that stuff. Like, is this pretty common? Because I mean, there's tons of Pokemon cards, obviously. Like, there's
Yeah.
obviously the whole first edition, and then you had all these constant packs. And to me, I always see Pokemon cards at Target. There's always
Yeah,
so like
there's
maybe they drop new sets every month or 2 months or three or whatever it is, or maybe it's not. Like, let us know. Like, is this kind of pretty common? It's just interesting because it's a brand new one. It makes it look
yeah.
like, okay, they're trying to play catch up. We're just trying to get all of our stuff out there. And then will it always be a four drops per year? Will it slow down eventually? Like, where is this going to go? I guess they're going to kind of see how it sells and go from there. It's obviously very successful, it's very popular, and they're riding that wave. So I guess we'll kind of see. But yeah, it will get overwhelming if it's like for us, where like
Yeah.
I already have like probably almost 600 cards that I've ripped open already. And it's like that
That's
was
two
only off of
sets.
two sets. And
I
that's
know.
not technically every single card because obviously I have duplicates and clearly you could play the game with two, three, or four in a hand. So like you want duplicates. So then it's like if I want to get the full set, like this is gonna get pretty crazy. So now it's like a whole no another damn collecting thing that I was like, I'm giving up a lot of this other stuff when it came to like Funko and stuff like that. And now I just got into another one that does take a lot less room,
That's what I'll say.
but
At least it doesn't take up a lot of
but
room. Still costs money though.
it's still becoming a little much. And I'm like, okay, it's exciting and ripping stuff, but yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts of like, are you excited for it though? Like with
I'm
this?
excited. I'm
Because it's true,
excited
like
for
I'm a
it.
little worried, but I am excited.
I'm the same. I'm a little worried, but I'm excited. I mean, and like the one thing too, like the artwork on these cards are just they're so cool. I mean, and
Oh,
maybe
amazing. And the artists, they put their names at the bottom, which is really cool,
yeah,
like
they're
on each of the
just
cards. So
and I don't know, maybe they mean like I honestly am a big Disney fan. I know you're a Disney fan too. Like it's not just and no shade to any other trading card games. There's just something about the art of these cards that I think just is like a whole other league. Not that Pokemon cards, the art isn't amazing, but seeing these Disney characters and then seeing them in like different ways, like more
yeah,
like creative, out of the box ways, I just think it was like they hit this out of the park. And I've even like because I've been now diving in. It's interesting to see my YouTube feed change from Funko to trading card games. A lot of
it's literally what
Lorcana.
mine, it's what mine
Yeah,
is
it's like
now.
all it is. And like to see people who their channels are totally about straight up trading card games. A lot of them said like they think the artwork on these cards are better than any game out there. So
Mhm.
that like that even just shows like that's what just makes these super cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a great like it's Disney. So the characters will always be so well known and
Yeah.
loved. But yeah, the artwork has been amazing and there's so many different artists involved and there's different versions, like you said, like that makes it really fun and cool and new and fresh. But like even the game itself, it's pretty simple for the most part. Obviously,
Yes.
there's certain skills and taxes and like ways to like be really good, but it's anyone can essentially learn it, and it makes it like easier for like the masses, versus where and it's something that I think from children all the way up, like you can kind of see a fan of it. Where not to say like there's not grown-ups that are Pokemon fans, obviously, but that has like for the most part its age range and Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff, and
Yep.
even Magic probably more on like the older side than the younger kids. So like this, I feel like is the one that will go from youngest to oldest probably the best. But yeah, it's exciting. I love it, man. Have loved ripping packs like I know you're like itching at it, and I'm just like excited to see when you really start really ripping through stuff because I know you're gonna go bananas, bro. I'm
I know,
telling you,
because
and you
that's
and you
like the
still and I'm
problem.
still waiting, and it's funny because knowing Charlie, like Charlie was the complete opposite of me when it comes to like ordering stuff, where like I can order something and have it sit in a box for technically I have a box that has been there for 2 years, bro, at this point, that I have never opened. We'll talk about that in an episode. But maybe I'll open it in an episode at one point. But
Yes.
like 2 years. And I don't even want that's just a hint to you guys. This is a little taste.
And we
But
had an
either way,
episode about that.
yeah, we did way back in the day. You guys don't no idea what we're talking about, probably because this is like but anyways, I'll have a box sitting here for weeks and months, whatever. And like you would always like rip stuff open. I remember like, oh, I got my box and you like ripped it open because to me it was like a content thing. I'm gonna record it. I gotta sit and record. And now Charlie's transitioned more into a content creator, not just a collector.
Yeah.
If I'm being right?
Yeah.
And you want to record it too, so you're not just gonna rip it open or whatever. And you just unfortunately timing hasn't been, but I know you got to probably be going
You
crazy because these cards are
I
freaking
love that
amazing.
you just said it because you're so true. It's like with the Funko stuff, like that's why like I loved when we started this podcast. Like I didn't even today, like I'll do it sometimes when I'll throw up shorts or whatever, but I don't necessarily love just sitting in front and like opening a package. But the cards for like to me, like I do want to make a video. Normally, you're right. Like I would have opened those and just like totally ripped them open and called it a day, admired them, put them in the book. It is killing me because I'm just like, because I even see the videos that you've made with opening the box. I'm like that. I know it may not like 20 minutes may sound like a lot of time, but when you have two kids and you're working and like I've joked before when my son sees these cards, I already got him. He's gotten some of the like he got I Santa got him a starter deck. So he kind of got
Mhm.
his fill with those. But the last thing I need is to pull an enchanted and him be like, I want that and like rip the
Yeah.
card. So it's like my timing is so minimal. But I'm gonna get around to it because you're right, it is killing me. I don't need Into the Inklands coming out. I still haven't
Yeah.
opened the first chapter.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so my timing is it's coming.
Yeah. So definitely look out for that, guys. But yeah, I did open a Floodborne box, so that'll be another, video of me ripping that and did pull another amazing card out of that one. So definitely get ready to see that. Maybe probably after this one, probably a day or so, I'll post that one. Uh, but I think that'll be it. That's
Yeah,
gonna unless there's anything else off the top of your head, I don't know. I think that was pretty much the majority of stuff. So I mean, we got back into some Funko news and some interesting stuff. They haven't really been bombarding us with a ton of drops, so that's why we haven't really talked about too much of like, oh, this and this is coming out because it's not really too much. I think they're gonna start doing it. It looks like it's gonna pick up a little bit. The toy
yeah,
fair stuff will probably some stuff will come out that are, that's going to there. Um, but we love talking about all different things, and obviously Lorcana is a big thing as well. NFTs will be dropping when you guys hear this, the new ones. I know we've talked about them a lot, but just to kind of go back to that, Harry Potter ones. So, best of luck if you guys are trying to get those packs. In my opinion, this will be another drop that I don't think is going to sell out. I don't think drops are going to sell out ever again. That's like my bold prediction of 2024. I think they just make too many packs. That's why, not because people don't like them. I just don't think they're ever gonna
yeah. I
be
agree with
limited. I
you.
don't think they're gonna be limited enough to be like, whoa, that thing dropped and
For
sold out.
anyone who saw the reel of me saying that I think this is going to sell out, after I recorded that and posted that, immediately regretted it. I do
Yeah.
think this will
But
be
like I said, I think it's because of the amount. That's where it's gonna
agreed.
be like, this is too much.
They've just gotten
Yeah.
too greedy, and it's just so funny. Some people have been like, "Oh, Funko's losing a ton of money." I could be wrong, but I still don't think it costs them that much to make this.
I wouldn't think it did either, but
And
I
that's
mean, I don't know
why
how that works.
Like that's why they keep doing it, and they're not probably like it probably hurts the ego of it not selling out because it is weird to think of a day where we couldn't get a drop.
Yeah.
And that just isn't a thing anymore. But like you said, it's too many packs. And until they fix their, I mean, this is like a broken record, but until there's absolutely no issues, there are stubborn people who, are sticking to their guns and they're
Yeah.
not supporting it.
Yeah. That's
Um,
another thing. Yeah.
I mean, and that's happening probably more than you think.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go for this. I love Harry Potter, but you're right, it probably won't sell out. And yeah, that may have been a good hot take. It may not sell out ever again unless they start doing limited drops. But they don't want to do that because they want to try to make more money. It's weird.
Yeah.
Just a
I
weird
just
thing.
I just don't like if I had to throw a wild prediction, I just think that would hit. If I had to put money on that. But yeah, that'll be it for this episode 88. Thank you for everyone for listening, whether you're listening on our past podcast avenues, or if you're over here on YouTube, thank you for watching. If you're on
Yes.
one, check us out on the other one. Definitely support us. We have visual stuff here on this one. And until next week, we'll get back into, hopefully some more exciting stuff. Look out for maybe some videos of Charlie opening up some NFT packs, maybe the Lurkana packs,
Yeah, maybe.
hopefully.
I'm hoping they're
Um,
kind of definitely get the NFTs.
yeah, the
Because
NFTs I
yeah,
know they're a little easier for you, and you'll be able to get those. They're not physically in your hand, so it's a little easier. But I'll be putting out my videos, so look out for that. Floodborne box, and check out the other stuff that we opened up as well. That already is out. But Charlie, you can let everybody know about the socials and everything.
yeah,
We appreciate all of you guys again for watching and listening.
yeah. So as always, you can find us at Collector Chatter on Instagram, and then you can also find us on our personal collecting accounts at pop_migs and at collector_Charlie. And if you haven't already, could you please like this video, hit that notification bell so you know when new videos come out. And also, please shoot us some comments. Like, it's funny, we have like waves of comments where we'll get tons of comments or like no comments. Help us this year make it steady comments. And I pride ourselves and we always respond to every comment, positive or negative. So throw some comments, throw some ideas since Funko news has been a little slow, like we said, and I know we're talking about Lorcana, but let us know if there's anything you think you would like to hear us talk about. Anything in the collecting world. It doesn't need to be something that we've ever talked about before. And even if we don't know about it, maybe it'll get us interested and, we'll talk about it. And yeah, once again, we just really appreciate your support. And if you haven't already, obviously, please subscribe to this channel. And as always, collecting is in the way. Until next time, later, everyone.
Bye, everybody.